The beam of fulfillment is already here. Take a breath, not to prepare, but to remember. There is nothing to fix, nothing to become. The path beneath you is solid, and the air around you already knows your name. Feel the hum that exists when effort dissolves. This is the sound of completion. Fulfillment does not shout, it glows. It vibrates through the body as a calm knowing. It is done. You're listening to Your Best Kept Secret to Success, where resonance replaces readiness and your frequency leads the way. I'm Prema, and today we enter the architecture of fulfillment, not as achievement, but as the quiet authority that follows completion. If you're new here, take the Sacred Wealth Archetype quiz. It's free. It reveals your unique prosperity code, the design of how your soul creates value. You'll find the link with the show notes, along with the Vedic astrology chart calculator, if you'd like to explore your own map. We'll do a brief Vedic astrology forecast update for a couple of the important transits. And then at the end of the episode, we'll be doing an integration practice to support you in the embodiment of fulfillment. So, as we enter this transmission, we're approaching the full moon in Taurus on December 4th, resting in Rohini Nakshatra in Vedic astrology, the star of blossoming, where the moon is exalted and is at most its home. This is the moon's moment of full embodiment. Fulfillment doesn't arrive as expansion, it arrives as saturation. And Rohini teaches that what is truly alive needs no performance. It simply radiates through being. You may feel this illumination in your own field right now. Projects, relationships, or inner realizations reaching quiet ripeness. They don't need to be tended or explained. They simply stand complete. The exalted moon whispers, "Let beauty reveal itself through alignment." And just one day later, on December 5th, Jupiter retrogrades back into Gemini from Cancer, where it will remain until June of 2026. This movement isn't regression, it's refinement. Jupiter returning to Gemini invites us to listen to our own wisdom, to rediscover the conversations, the teaching, or messages that seeded our last expansion, and ask, what truth still wants to speak through me now? Jupiter is our great sage in the Sacred Wealth Archetype system, and its mantra is the truth will set you free. The moon, full moon, is represented by the queen. This is the divine feminine leader. And together, these transits mirror the architecture of fulfillment itself. The moon embodying completion, and Jupiter gathering wisdom through reflection. Fulfillment and review, radiance and humility. The divine rhythm of ripening and return is what this energy brings. If you feel the call to experience this full moon inside a living field, the full moon coherence circle is where we walk that remembrance together. It isn't a ritual, it's a refinement, a consecrated gathering for those attuned to timing, rhythm, and resonance, held on every full moon. You'll find the link in the show notes. And if you're curious on how Saturn's movement, how the full moon, how Jupiter's retrograde show up in your chart, you can schedule a Vedic astrology soul blueprint or sacred wealth code reading with me. It's a personal reflection of your soul's timing and highest value gifts and purpose. And you'll find the link in the show notes. So before we enter today's transmission, take a moment to feel where something in your life has quietly reached completion. Not because you forced it, but because the energy simply stopped asking for your attention. That stillness is a doorway. This episode begins there, where doing gives way to being, and fulfillment no longer needs to be explained. Let's step into that space together. The first pillar, fulfillment, begins where striving ends. So this is for those of you who've built and offered, refined and released, and now are wondering what remains once the doing quiets. The architecture of fulfillment is containment after creation. It's the sacred pause where energy reroots itself in form. So you may notice a restlessness here. The mind asking, shouldn't I announce what I've realized? But the mature soul knows revelation doesn't require advertisement. In Vedic principle, this is the moment when the moon reaches fullness. It does nothing new. It simply reflects completely. In leadership, it's the phase where your presence teaches more than your output ever could. So reflect on, where are you still trying to prove what is already evident? And can you let completion speak in silence? Let's enter the second pillar. Radiance is a byproduct of integrity. Fulfillment doesn't demand attention, it emits coherence. Integrity means your inner and outer structures match. There's no energetic leakage. You'll know you've entered this phase when peace feels more powerful than promotion. When your energy no longer spikes with response, but steadies with alignment. This is mirrored by Venus, ruler of Taurus and keeper of sacred devotion. Venus teaches that beauty isn't something we perform. It's what emanates when form and essence agree. So rather than reaching outward, let grace collect around you. Fulfillment speaks without words. There was a point a few years ago when an offering in my business no longer felt alive. The structure looked good from the outside. People were engaged. Things were working. But inside, I could feel the architecture beginning to dissolve. I remember sitting with the question, do I need to explain this? Part of me wanted to. I could have written a post, sent an email, or tried to make everyone understand why I was changing direction. But instead, I chose silence. I didn't announce a pivot. I didn't justify my shift. I simply stopped doing what was no longer true. And what happened was extraordinary. The moment I let go without explanation, the field rearranged. Within days, clarity arrived. The right clients reached out. The right next offering revealed itself. Not because I strategized, but because I stopped leaking energy through justification. That was the moment I learned that silence is not withdrawal, it's fulfillment. When coherence is complete, the field already knows. The new structure doesn't need to announce, it simply becomes visible through your walk. So, where could restraint become your most luminous act of leadership? Pillar 3, return is the crown of the path. Completion is not the end, it's the spiral turning inward. When you've walked a full cycle, you return carrying light for others, not to fix them, but to remind them it's possible. Like a candle that doesn't chase the dark, it simply burns with steady flame. And by its quiet presence, others remember their own fire. This is the geometry of Jupiter, the teacher who transmits through embodiment, not repetition. Jupiter doesn't convince, it blesses. Fulfillment, then, is the blessing state. Truth so lived that it requires no defense. What wisdom is asking to return through you? Not as a message, but as presence. Pillar 4. Presence is transmission. When a cycle is truly complete, you no longer share from effort. You emanate from embodiment. Presence itself becomes the teaching. You don't need to speak about truth. You stand as it. In Vedic wisdom, this is the crown current, where consciousness and coherence merge. There's no longer a bridge between inner knowing and outer expression because the two are one current. It's like the moment when a river meets the sea. There's no longer a line where one ends and the other begins. The current simply continues wider now, but still itself. That's what happens when your knowing and your expression merge. Movement without separation. Flow without effort. The fulfillment that once felt internal now radiates naturally through the field. You might find people drawn to you for no visible reason, projects aligning without strategy, or words spoken through you that you didn't plan. That is fulfillment moving as service. You don't have to declare it or design it. When the light reaches the crown, it doesn't seek direction. It blesses everything it touches. If this conversation awakens the sense that you're no longer building your path, but walking what's true, you may already belong in Sacred Wealth Mastery. It isn't a course or a container for more doing. It's a living field where fulfillment becomes form, where the architecture of your wealth, purpose, and leadership is refined through coherence, not effort. You'll find the link in the show notes. And when and if you feel the resonance to enter, the invitation is always open, never urgent. We'll do a oracle card reading from the Sacred Wealth Code Oracle deck. Your oracle deck, the book and journal, your Sacred Wealth Code are all available. Link is in the show notes and on Amazon. We have two archetypes coming forward today from the deck. And the first one is the sage. And the sage is one of Jupiter's archetypes. We spoke about Jupiter already. And the sage's mantra is the truth will set you free. The sage comes forward to remind us that when we are in our truth, not something we're just knowing, but we are in it because we've embodied it. It's permeated us and we're allowing it to flow through us. That fullness, that blessing, that embodiment is a blessing that's felt by others. Not to control, not to manipulate, not to sell, but simply to be and to trust in that truth, the current of truth, activating the truth in others as well, without attachment. Jupiter moves from wisdom. The sage moves from wisdom, which is an inside-out principle. And the other card that's come forward, the other archetype, is the Great Nurturer. I give and receive nourishment. This is one of the moon's archetypes. The moon is reflecting the light of the soul, the light of the sun. The Great Nurturer comes forward to remind us what we nurture within ourselves then emanates from us. We become like a beacon of it. You know, put your own oxygen mask on first. This is beyond that. True nourishment brings fulfillment. Because in that, there's no more striving, there's no more reaching. Instead, we are filled up from the inside. So the great nurturer is here to remind you and ask you to reflect on, where might you be holding back from yourself on filling your own cup, receiving your own fulfillment? It may be so close, so reachable, but are you receiving it? This is the energy of receivership. Take a deep breath. We'll move into our embodiment practice. It's time to get quiet. Allow things to integrate. So let's seal this transmission in the body. Close your eyes if you can. Breathe into your heart. Take another deep, full breath and start your breath pattern of breathing into the heart and exhaling through the crown of your head. Breathing into the heart, exhaling through the crown. 4th chakra, 7th chakra. Opening to the energy of completion. And internally whisper as you are breathing in through the heart, out through the crown. It is complete. Feel the echo move down your spine, anchoring all the way down into the earth. It is complete. Let one more deep, full breath confirm fulfillment speaks through me now. Fulfillment speaks through me now. Allow yourself to sit in that quiet for another couple of breaths. The quiet of fulfillment. And notice how silence begins to hum. That hum is the signature of fulfillment. Sense it. Feel it. Breathe with it. And walk with it through the rest of your day, that hum. The hum of fulfillment. Take another deep, full breath. Open your eyes if they're closed, coming back to full presence. You can feel free to return to that as many times as you'd like. I'm so grateful that you've joined me today. If you're longing for personal clarity to align with your soul's timing and gifts, a sacred wealth code reading or a soul blueprint reading will reflect the codes already written in your chart. These aren't predictive tools, they are sacred mirrors. And you'll find the link in the show notes along with everything else. Again, I invite you to join me in the Full Moon Coherence Circle. If this conversation has opened something inside of you and you feel the resonance to walk in deeper coherence, you're invited on the full moon, on every full moon, It's not a ritual or a healing session. It's a consecrated field of refinement where structure, rhythm, and remembrance come alive. I appreciate you so much subscribing, reviewing on Apple, liking, commenting on Spotify and YouTube. I read all my comments. And I want to thank you so much for being here. Remember, your soul already carries the blueprint for your wealth, your purpose. And when you align with that truth, the right opportunities, the right people, and resources arrive without force, in perfect timing, and in perfect sequence. I'm ever so grateful you joined me today, and so much love to you.